17. I pronounce this as Tyre. It's probably Tyre, I don't care. It's T-Y-R. Tyre. I think of it as Tyre, but hey-oh. The conventional meaning is he was the god of war. This rune signifies courage and energy, but also passion bringing happiness. The way I remember it, the image on the rune is an arrow. There's no mistaking that, it's an arrow. And this makes me think of the Indians shooting their arrows at the cowboys as they fight the war between them and try, but written down by a dyslexic Indian, so they spelt it T-Y-R. Trust me, you'll always remember that, so you'll know what the rune is. To win the war, as Tyre, T-Y-R, the dyslexic Indian, is the god of war. As the god of war, Tyre, however you want to pronounce it, has courage and energy, but also passion that brings happiness when the fight is won, which is how the Indians in my mind game feel when they win. Number 18, birth. Conventional meaning. This rune can refer to an actual birth or new marriage, but also to beginnings and growth, the start of something significant. My memory aid? You might be slightly ahead of me now. The image on the rune looks to me like a letter B, which is the first letter of the word birth. Also, it can be seen to look like a pair of breasts, if you were to put it like that. Okay? Pair of tits, breasts, call them what you will. Which women use for breastfeeding their baby when they have just given birth. It can therefore mean an actual birth or new marriage, but also can mean new beginnings and growth, just as the baby grows during pregnancy until birth. In any event, it's the start of something significant and positive. 19. Horse. Conventional meaning, this rune signifies travel, but also change, such as a new job or a new home. It can refer to spiritual journeys. I remember this as, it looks like a letter M. Okay? Looks like a letter M, which is the first letter of the word mare, which is the name of a female horse. As you can ride on a horse, and also if you look at it, that could perhaps be the saddle that you sat on. As you ride on the horse, it signifies travel, but also change, as in a change of scenery, such as a new job or a new home. So I think of a family moving home and thus having enough land to then get a horse. So the young daughter, having just got a new horse, goes and gets a weekend and after school part-time new job to earn some money to look after her new horse and take on that new responsibility. So just imagine riding the horse through a tranquil meadow, and it will help remind you this can also refer to spiritual journeys. Number 20, man. Conventional meaning, this image signifies a human being and suggests intelligence, memory and culture. All the attributes that set humans apart. The rune can also relate to family matters. I remember this as being, those are the sticks coming down on an old-fashioned pair of opera glasses. And if you go on Google Images and put in opera glasses, you'll see they've got handles, generally just one, but I imagine there's two here, and they're going to go over the eyes. Which just happen to have two handles instead of one, which could be used by a man or woman at the opera to see things more clearly. Opera is often seen as a pastime that the upper class and people from posh families go to. Those people are often perceived as thinking they are better than others and have more intelligence, memory and culture. Indeed, this rune signifies all the attributes that set humans apart from other species. All the bullet points are there in that mental story. 21, we're getting there, and I've got 15 minutes left before I leave you and my hour's up. So hopefully I'm going to manage this and be able to tell you the other couple of bits I want to. This is called water. The conventional meaning is that water symbolises the unconscious mind, intuition and mystery. This rune indicates psychic awareness, but also the hidden sources of creativity. How do I remember it? Well, when I see this image, it makes me think of a wire dowsing rod. If that was the handle and that's the long bit that sticks out, go on Google Images, type in wire dowsing rod. You'll see the short bit's the handle, long bit sticks out. Well, I think of this, that being the handle, that the long bit sticking out. So it's a dowsing rod which we use to find water. The rune's called water. Okay? Dowsing surrounded by mystery, but gives a link to the unconscious mind, intuition, psychic abilities of the person, enabling them to find water. And so showing them that they have psychic awareness, hidden sources of creativity and potential they've not yet tapped. The image also reminds me of an old-fashioned street water pump. Type into Google, street water pump. They used to have them on the streets and you had a bit and you pumped it like that. Well, that'd be the bit you pumped, and that's the upright. Where the bit pointing diagonally downwards is where you pump the water out. I'm also reminded that water is one of the 4 elements which are used in astrology, which is surrounded by mystery itself, but gives a link to the unconscious and intuition of the person, and can show them that they have psychic awareness and also hidden sources of creativity that's untapped. These keywords will all jump into your head when you see these runes now. 22 out of 25. Hey, hey! I will have time at the end. This one's known as fertility. Conventional meaning. This rune indicates completion, whether of projects or ideas or in the sense of people developing to their fullest potential. The way I remember this, to me it looks almost like a diamond. But that's how I choose to think of it, a diamond. And the old saying is that diamonds are a girl's best friend. So I recall a woman who can give birth if she has good fertility. I remember that in old-fashioned times it used to be no sex before marriage. So you'd have to put the diamond ring on the finger first to get that fertile female, fertility. And that in order to get her pregnant, it would, well, it could also be, and I know it's crude, but this could be an outline of the woman's whole, vagina. Which reminds me of having sex until ejaculation, completion. Completion is the key word. With pleasure attached, joy and happiness. You're never going to forget the key words, trust me. With this woman who has good fertility, which is apt, because that's what it is. She gets pregnant and I hope that the baby develops to their fullest potential. And I have loads of ideas and planned projects to make their nursery look awesome. All the key words, you'll remember that memory. Number 23. This one's known as Day. This is a rune of awakening and clarity. It indicates success, wealth and abundance in life. Conventional meaning. I think of this as an old style egg timer that's been turned on its side, where the sands of time can run through. But it's lying down on its side as though it's been asleep in bed and is now about to get up as it experiences awakening and clarity at the start of a new day. At the start of this new day, the traditional egg timer, do a Google image search if you don't know what one is, but they do look like that, gets up and makes breakfast of large, expensive ostrich and duck eggs as they are experiencing success, wealth and abundance in life, so can afford more than just the hen's eggs. 24. This is named ancestral property. Conventional meaning, this rune refers to inheritances and to property in general. It can also describe inherited abilities or family traditions. I remember this, and I know I'd thought of a diamond as one of my memory aids earlier, but this, I also still see a diamond there, but this then I think of as being like the ring bit. It's a diamond ring with a big diamond on top. I've imagined this diamond ring was inherited, so it's ancestral property, which is what the rune is. That was part of my inheritance from a member of the family, and it is a family tradition that this ring is passed down through the generations. I've imagined it's also a magical ring, and therefore when worn can give the person inherited abilities they did not have before or did not realise they already had. Excellent. I've got just under 10 minutes left. And weird, fate, the blank one, that should get out of jail free card, but conventional books say that this signifies mystery, but also fate. In a reading it indicates something that the person cannot know. It also tells them that fate may decide the issue. That's conventional meaning. I remember it as it's blank, and because it's blank compared to the other ones, it's a bit weird. But it's spelt wrong, again, by the dyslexic bloke, hence it's W-Y-R-D, weird, which is what the rune is called, weird or fate. It's a blank surface, a blank portrait, and at the moment it has a mystery as to what fate will bring for that person. It indicates something that the person cannot currently know for sure or be aware of. However, they have the opportunity to mould that the way they want it to be. There you go. I promise you, when you get runes and look at them, you'll remember more of that than you ever thought possible. So before I hand you back, well, no, not before I hand you back to Stuart. Well, actually, I will hand you back to Stuart in a minute, just for a couple of minutes, before the afternoon break, so we can maybe bullet point anything that cross-relates to what he's covered before. So that's runes, astrology, tarot you've done, palmistry, numerology. Christ, I mean, there is some other stuff Stu's going to cover later, but I'll leave you with this thought before I go back to the audience. It's all well and good knowing this stuff, but until you take action and start advertising, you're not going to get clients. They don't just come to you, you've got to advertise. And Stu is going to... That's mentioned some of that, and we'll mention more later. But get a gimmick if you can. The way I got most of my tarot clients and one-to-one reading clients and parties and events was not through doing tarot reading, palmistry, numerology or astrology, although that's what I did when I was booked and paid to go and do those events. I got it through becoming known at the time as the world's only, there's tons of people doing it now because they've done my training courses, but at the time the world's only belly button reading psychic. And I've been on TV shows galore around the world. I've been on the couch with Philip and Holly on This Morning in England. I've been featured in National Enquirer in America, you name it. I've read celebrities' belly buttons. Just as a side note, and this is slightly a brag, but a lesson involved, in January 1997, just before the Spice Girls became mega world famous, I was approached by the Daily Star newspaper in England, and they said, will you read the Spice Girls' belly buttons to predict what the future's going to be like? So I did. And the article went in January 1996 in print. And in that article, no word of a lie, I said that Geri Halliwell would be the first person to leave the group. That when she left the group, she would not have a successful #1 until she became almost like Britain's answer to Madonna. She didn't get a #1 until she took most of her kit off and lay making sexual gestures on a boat that was going along in the video for Machico Latino. I said that Mel, I always get them mixed up, but I said that the coloured lady, Mel B, would get involved with a comedian. She ended up marrying and divorcing Eddie Murphy. I said that Posh Spice would get involved with a footballer. She's now married to David Beckham. I said that Mel C, I've forgotten what I said for her. I probably got that bit wrong, the fact that I don't remember it. Documented fact. When all of these things continue to occur as reality in the real world, and I could pull out the fact this had been documented in the Daily Star newspaper, needless to say that opened up other doors of opportunity for TV and radio interviews, which in itself attracted people to come to me for readings and bookings. How the fuck did I do it? That's the thought I'll leave you with, before, well, as I hand you back to Stuart. But before I tell you how I did the Spice Girls,
How I did this.
well, I always say, I can honestly say, I'm probably the only man on the planet who's poked all 5 Spice Girls, albeit in the belly button. I'll very quickly put this thought in your head. There should have been a bit more semicircular, but it doesn't matter. People love their animals. Television loved them as well. Years ago, I got loads of worldwide media exposure as well by doing what I dubbed, and there's loads of people now doing it, jumped on the bandwagon. Horology. Fortune telling for dogs. By reading the paws. Because they've got a life pad, a head pad, a love pad, a luck pad, and a health pad. If the front of the pad's raised, it's an indicator of positive stuff in that area. If the back of the pad's raised, it can often be an indicator of something that has to be paid attention of, potentially negative, the owner needs to know about. And perhaps if it feels smooth, that's a good sign. If it's a rough pad, it can be a bad sign. And they're all different. And I just came up with any old bollocks. I use various magician's techniques as well to find out stuff about the dogs from their owners in advance before the filming started, so that then I could discover it through the dog's paw. And on TV they'd go, oh yeah, that's right. Little Bessie, she does love a walk in that type of area. And you might think, how's love affect dogs? Well, like a bulldog on TV once, I turned around and told the owner, I said, oh, I've got to be honest with you. He thinks you're a great owner. Because it's not just about the pads, I get a connection with the dogs. He thinks you're a great owner. The only thing is, he's a bit, he's a bit frustrated. You want him out to stud or something? Life pad. I've turned around before now and gone, oh. They say they love you to bits, but to be honest, you go on the same kind of route every time you go for a walk, don't you, most of the time? The person went, yeah. They're a bit fed up of it. Can you change the route? They'll be a lot happier. Might sound like bollocks, but it's taken me around the world, this shit. I've read, John Barrowman, the British television presenter and musical theatre star. I read his lovely little dog's paws on Channel 5. I've read celebrities' dogs from various films to help launch films. Celebrities regarding the belly button reading, you name it, from Madonna to the Spice Girls, even to Princess. I even read Princess Di's belly button. That was printed in the Sunday People newspaper. And the way it was printed, I had read a belly button in person. I hadn't. I'd done it off a photograph, but the way they portrayed it made it look good. So how did I do the Spice